Hey everyone, today I have all picked and gutted here. This lock, we're going to call this a Caveo. I think that's how you're going to pronounce that. I bought this new through a group buy. This has a 2,000 pound break-in guarantee. I'm guessing if you have that installed on your house and someone picks your lock, which is pretty solid, but I did get this picked pretty short order, so take that for whatever it's worth. So this has two locking mechanisms, as you can guess by the number of elements here. Down here in the body, you can see there is a sidebar groove. There's also this groove on the side. I'm not 100% sure what that is for. It might be for the sliders to stick into when they're unset. I'm not 100% sure. But this is a dimple lock, so it sits like this. And this is where the sidebar would go, right here on the bottom. There's nothing real spectacular about the plug, no overmilling or anything, just some basic warding in the plug there. And then looking at the pins, all the drivers are just standard drivers. So no security drivers there. And then the key pins, almost dropped that. The key pins are just got this ridge so that they don't fall all the way into the keyway. So that's all that's for. Nothing special there. The sliders are pretty basic as well. They do not have any false gates. If I can get this one out. No false gates, just that one true gate you can see there. I believe the nub is in the middle of all of these, and then the position of the gate is what determines the bitting. Let me grab another one just to make sure that that is the case. Yeah, it looks like that's the case. So, interesting note on the bitting of this lock. So this does have 7 top stacks. As you can see right there, we've got 7 cuts on this side. The sliders are directly underneath the top stacks, so the slider track is there. Every single one of these that I have seen, there are several people who bought these as part of a group buy. Every single one has the exact same slider track. Every picture that we've seen online has the same slider track, except for one, which didn't even look like a real lock. I think it was a 3D rendering that somebody found that had a different slider track. So either we all got the same slider track, or there's only one slider track for these, period, which I guess would make it cheaper to manufacture, right? If you didn't have to have a bunch of different slider tracks, but obviously that cuts down on security and key control and all those sorts of things. So typically, on a real high security lock, you would have, different types of slider tracks so that, just having one blank with this track pre-cut on it would not be sufficient for someone to then, get the top stack bitting cut in their key. They would also have to have, whatever the specific slider track was, and that might, be limited to one particular customer, and then you have to buy the keys for it from the specific locksmith or something along those lines. But this does not seem like it has that. It just seems like it has one generic slider track. So that's just, a key control element, I would say, rather than a real security element, because you would have to get, whatever the key was from Caveo, or have that blank with the slider track in it, or it wouldn't work. So I think that's about it for this one. It's not a super quick pick and gut segment, mostly because the gut takes a while. But picking this was not super bad. Had to do really heavy tension to get the sliders to go, because they didn't want to set, and I had to get one moved. It bound really hard I think it was the third one in the middle, before I get the other ones to hold. But getting back to the third one with the other ones in the way was difficult, because these are sprung sliders, so they are biased the way I was picking the lock, this way. Nope, I had it this way, sorry. The way I had it this way, they're biased to the right side, and they fit right up against that inner wall. And so I had to get my flag slid in between it, and then jiggle it out to get it to actually start moving. So because they're all forced to one side, I can't move, you know, the ones that aren't binding over to get to the one that I need to in the rear. So I had to hold it real hard on tension and move these ones, the first two, a little bit to get to the third one, to then push that over so that it could set. So oh, last thing, I didn't talk about the sidebar. The sidebar is just flat. You probably saw it there on my tray, but just a regular old piece of metal. And it fits directly into these slots on the sliders. So all right, there we go. We'll move over to the next segment for the pick and gut. All right, here we have our, we're going to call it Caveo. I think that's how you would pronounce that. So, Keyworks. And we're going to start with the top stacks here. Those were 3 and 6, which are the real high lifts, I think. 1 is a high lift 2. I just set that one. That was 4. That was 5. That was 7. I think 2 is a 0 lift. Okay, that was 7. All right, so I got a little bit of a false set there. So I'm gonna switch to a real tiny flag. Oh, not that one. Switch to a smaller flag. Not that one either. 3rd time's charm. Switch to a smaller flag. Okay. And get these sliders here. So I think I gotta go real heavy on my tension on these to get them to stay where I want them to. Getting them away from that side wall is somewhat of a problem. There we go. Just that rear one was still stuck. Okay. So that is open. Can manipulate the cam now. haven't gutted this yet. So we'll see how this goes. I did cut it. This one's helpfully labeled exterior and interior. I picked the interior side, but I think they're the same. I think the only reason they're labeled differently is because this one has the anti-snap cuts in it. So hopefully they are the same. All right, I'm going to relock this. Okay. I'll put the 7th one there. So this should have 7 top stacks. And it's helpfully grubbed. Just trying to organize that. There we go. There's barely enough room here for everything. Maybe I'll just keep the set screws over here. So far, just standard drivers. Like I said, I didn't cut this before, so I don't know what's in it. There we go. Keeping number 3 did not want to come out. All right, so this is looking like all standards. No spools or anything in the top stacks. Put the last one over here. Okay. So there are your pin stacks there. Nothing remarkable. Okay. I need to flip my C-clamp pliers around. And I guess I need to pry this. That should be good enough. There we go. All right, we got that off. I don't know how that thing comes off, but we're gonna, hopefully the sliders, they are sprung. Hopefully the key will keep them in. I do not know where the sidebar is. Hopefully my finger's on it. Okay. Oh, okay, there we go. So there's the groove. I think the sidebar's on the bottom. I don't think there's anything on the side because my finger's not covering that and nothing fell off. So let's double check. Okay, that's just for the sliders to go into maybe. All right, so grab the sidebar. That looks solid. Okay. Let's get these springs before I lose them. Okay, there's your sidebar springs. And you can see the sliders are intact there. I'll pull the key. So it looks like maybe just a true gate on each one. Yeah, I don't see a false gate. Okay, and I did it this way. 1 to 7, so I'm going to pull the sliders out in the same order. I should have these flipped around so that you can see the gates. I might just leave those springs in there. Just quickly going to reorient these. I think they actually go, you can see there's a rounded end and a flat end, and I think the rounded end should be facing out. So technically they should all be flipped around 180, but that's okay. All right, you can see the sliders, so it looks like just the location of the gate is different on each one. That determines the bitting of that particular piece of this. So there you go. Those are all the pieces. Nothing special in the plug. Nope. I think I can, well, maybe not. Maybe I can punch the pin out of this and get this actuator off, but I'm not 100% sure. All right. Well, there you go. That is all gutted. Oh, I dropped my springs here, so let me, as I was messing around with this. So there you go. That is a, I'm gonna call it Caveo. And there's the front of the lock again. Okay, all picked and gutted. Yeah, nothing too spectacular in here. 2 locking mechanisms though. Not super tough to get that one open. All right, thank you for watching.